Good afternoon everyone, my name is Nicole and the company our group will be talking about is Laura SA. Here are the rest of my group members. They are Ellie, Imran, Xialing and Shailesh. Now let's get started with the company introduction. Firstly, Laura SA is a French personal care company headquartered in Clichy, Haute-Saône, with a registered office in Paris, and has a history of more than 100 years. It is the world's largest cosmetics company and has developed activities in the field concentrating on hair color, skin care, sun protection, makeup, perfume, and hair care. They are the first cosmetics group worldwide, with 36 brands in 150 countries, and have a wide variety of distribution channels from hair salons and perfumeries to hyper and supermarkets, health and beauty outlets, pharmacies, and direct mail. Furthermore, some of L'Oreal's consumer products include big companies like Garnier, Maybelline New York, NYX Professional Makeup, 3CE's Down Under, and more. In 2019, L'Oreal confirmed its position as the worldwide leader in beauty with a strong presence in its three main geographic zones: Western Europe, North America, and the new markets in Asia Pacific, Latin America, Eastern Europe, and Africa Middle East. Laura SA currently has a total of 88,000 employees and more than 50% of the workforce are women. In 2020, there are 54% of women in leadership positions and 64% are managers. As for women in the top management, 26% are executive committee members, 58% are board members, and 59% are global brand general managers. For the nationality and multicultural origins, there are 167 nationalities across 68 countries. There are also 1,381 people with disabilities in the workforce and will continue to increase in the coming years. Next, moving on to diversity introduction. So, what the company has done to champion D&I is to advocate for hiring, promoting, and developing people of every ethnic group, socio-economic origin, culture, age, religion, gender, and sexual orientation, as well as people with visible and invisible disabilities. They also denounce any form of discrimination, physical or psychological violence, and offenses to human rights. L'Oreal's commitment statement is that they believe that stronger companies and stronger communities are created when people of every culture, background, and lifestyle are accepted and valued. Therefore, they create products for people from all walks of life around the globe. In addition, to ensure that their products meet the needs of every form of beauty in every culture, their team members must be as diverse and inclusive as the world itself. Some D&I strategies L'Oreal has is that they aim to foster workplaces where all people of every ethnicity, social background, religion, gender, age, or disability, visible or invisible, feel welcome and valued. This is because they are determined that an atmosphere where everyone can thrive and grow means that their business will thrive and grow throughout the world. They believe that in all their diversity, be it within the company or in local communities on every continent, people matter at L'Oreal. Some elements of diversity the company has been working on are socio-economic background, religion, gender, age, or disability. So, how has the company been recognized? Independent agencies have recognized L'Oreal for their diversity and inclusion achievements. They strive to work together with public and private organizations to make diversity and inclusion the new normal. They promote their values to their partners and stakeholders and make them a condition for collaboration. L'Oreal is also regularly audited to obtain the Gender Equality European and International Standard in 23 countries and economic dividends for gender equality certifications in 7 countries.
Moving on, the four noteworthy diversity and inclusion strategies L'Oreal has done is first, fostering gender equality at every stage. Second, being open to employees and suppliers from different social and cultural backgrounds. Third, providing more opportunities for disabled people to thrive in a workplace environment. And last, ensuring an inclusive environment for members of the LGBTQ communities. First, L'Oreal was able to foster gender equality at every stage in their workforce. As part of L'Oreal's long-term strategy dedicated to diversity and inclusion, the L'Oreal Group has been committed to promoting gender equality for over 15 years. They aim to create an inclusive work environment for people of all genders and to achieve gender balance in the workforce. They recognize that creating a welcoming and supportive working environment for people of all genders adds value, boosts performance, and powers innovation. In 2020, women represented 54% of L'Oreal's leadership positions and 58% of the board of directors and made up 67% of promotions. Since 2007, L'Oreal has called upon the Economics Institute that groups together renowned public research entities such as INED, CNRS, and Université Paris-X to conduct an annual gender pay gap analysis in France. The analysis has focused on median and mean salary differences between men and women. Moreover, in 2020, L'Oreal introduced a new tool based on the EDGE Unexplained Gender Pay Gap policy to calculate and measure gender pay equity. In the gender pay gap analysis in France, for example, the median pay gap across all staff categories in France was 10% in 2007 but has been zero since 2020. Diagnosing the driving forces behind the gender pay gap has helped L'Oreal to develop a meaningful, long-term action plan to have a positive impact on their gender pay gap. In 2021, 28 countries, covering about 84% of L'Oreal's workforce, are taking part in the assessment, which will be extended in 2022 to all the countries where they operate, and their goal is to narrow any gaps in both genders' pay. I feel that this strategy is noteworthy as they are committed to ensure that there is equality in the workforce. They even come up with a 5-point plan so as to deliver their ambition to an employer of choice that is founded on equality and able to offer the best in job satisfaction and development of their employees. They have continued to build on this to drive long-lasting change, which I find admirable. Next, L'Oreal was able to be open to employees and suppliers from different social and cultural backgrounds. They are also committed to increase the diversity of social, economic, and cultural origins in the group's teams. They paid particular attention to the diversification of recruitment pools to ensure equal opportunities in terms of professional development and to raise awareness of employees and management on the subject. L'Oreal was able to do so by managing global-local tension by deploying professionals with multicultural backgrounds in new product development. The HR will appoint a manager to lead a program for developing and nurturing them, and the manager will be knowledgeable about their competence and skills of these individuals and how they differ from those of other employees. According to top management, this strategy became the company's most critical source of competitive advantage and is also the main reason for L'Oreal's impressive success in emerging markets. L'Oreal thinks that a person rooted in more than one culture is usually able to spot and reconcile differences in understanding and communication, serving as a buffer both within teams and more broadly in the organization. In addition, he or she will probably be more open to adapting to multiple mindsets and communication modes, hence making it easier to handle people from different cultures. These managers can integrate knowledge from many locations to develop successful new products and minimize conflict between home country and international executives. It's an approach that can transfer easily to other industry and functional contexts in which complex knowledge from multiple cultures must be coordinated and shared. I feel that this strategy is noteworthy as Laura was able to master multiculturalism even though it was difficult to call for a shift from an ethnocentric approach to a truly global network.
The first step of inclusion is dedicated to the disabled. The L'Oreal Group has made an asserted policy over the past 20 years to facilitate the inclusion of disabled employees and also generally oppose all types of discrimination. To achieve this goal, L'Oreal is rebuilding and redeveloping working environments where people feel they are truly valued, regardless of their identity, and are given fair opportunities. Moreover, it also works hand in hand with local and international experts, including associations and NGOs. There's also a network of diversity coordinators across the company's 65 entities to oversee if the initiatives go well with the policies in line, as well as making sure that the initiatives are well suited to the local circumstances of each and every country. So, did the strategies work out? We will see. In 2020, L'Oreal had a total of 2,472 disabled employees, a 65% increase from its previous number in 2014. It was also recognized as a top 10 company for inclusion by Thomson Reuters among more than 7,000 companies that were assessed that year. Moreover, in the same year, L'Oreal held its 10th Annual Disability Awards, and more than 65 projects that participated in the awards came from all different forms of disability. These prove that L'Oreal has been working towards its aim of inclusiveness for the disabled, though it may take some time for the strategies regarding inclusion to be fully effective since it is a process of continuous improvement. It is definitely noteworthy as it was done to promote the sharing and implementation of best practices that holds inclusiveness of the disabled as its main aim. Therefore, we can conclude that the strategies were effective as we have statistics to support the statement. Following the disabled, we have the LGBTQ community. L'Oreal initiated its inclusiveness policy for the LGBTQ community in 2018, where it officially lent its support towards the Standards of Conduct for Business by the United Nations. It is to provide fair treatment for members of the LGBTQ community and also to promote social change at a global level. The company has also advocated for the hiring, promotion, and development of people from any background as well as denounce any form of discrimination. It also supports local projects that benefit the LGBTQ community. These projects are started to create awareness among other employees so that the LGBTQ members can enjoy a non-discriminative and conducive workplace. In 2019, the company has announced that it will be extending its paid co-parental leave to a minimum of 6 weeks and has also been progressing the initiative toward all its branches and subsidiaries from then. Furthermore, in 2020, the company launched its own employment rights policy with the main aim of preventing discrimination against the LGBTQ community, thus setting an example for other international MNCs. These prove that L'Oreal has been pursuing its aim for a more inclusive society, and their strong commitment is reflected in every move of theirs as well as their subsidiaries. This year, L'Oreal USA became a platinum-level sponsor for the New York City Pride 2021 ceremony in a bid to show its support for the LGBTQ community. It has also joined hands with 13 other USA subsidiaries of the brand to collectively donate $120,000 to continue its support for the heritage of Pride and future without discrimination. Furthermore, L'Oreal also got a perfect score of 100 on the Human Rights Campaign Foundation's Corporate Equality Index in 2019 for the second time consecutively, and it has also been named as Best Place to Work for LGBTQ Equality. Therefore, we can conclude that the efforts taken by the company are noteworthy as we have sufficient evidence to prove that they are effective.
First and foremost, the company should focus on ameliorating the diversity of race at the workplace. Based on a survey done by MCCY 2 years ago, an employment situation observed in Singapore is that approximately 73% of Malays, 68% of Indians, and 50% of Eurasians face discrimination when seeking for employment. Considering Singapore's reputation as a multicultural country with its citizens living in racial harmony, These statistics show that Singapore's workforce still need improvements in terms of racial and ethnic diversity at the workplace. By focusing on diversifying race in the workforce, the company can benefit from a plethora of merits, those of which include a better understanding of the consumer base in Singapore. As different people of various races have different experiences growing up in Singapore, a broader horizon of perspectives can be taken into consideration when ideas and opinions are being proposed. With this increased ideation pool, the company will be able to cater to more needs of consumers in Singapore, thus reaching a wider group of consumers. Therefore, it is important and beneficial to improve racial diversity in the workplace. Subsequently, the company should also work towards increasing the employment of persons with disabilities. Based on the data provided by Ministry of Manpower a year ago, it shows that the employment situation of persons with disabilities in Singapore is not very inclusive just yet. Only a small percentage of persons with disabilities, specifically 28.6%, are employed. By focusing on hiring more persons with disabilities, the company can obtain merits such as lower employee turnover rate. Having them as employees will diversify the workplace, boosting the team's morale. This is because teams with persons with disabilities are able to increase teamwork by respecting, understanding, and cooperating with each other's needs. With solid camaraderie in the team, employees are less likely to leave the company. This will increase, if not maintain, the level of productivity as the company would not have to set aside time mentoring and training new employees. Thus, it is advantageous to hire more persons with disabilities in the company as it brings about better teamwork and productivity while promoting diversity in the company.
Businesses with a right mix of ethnicity are 33% more likely to outperform their competitors. When companies are more accepting of people from diverse backgrounds, they are able to access a larger pool of talents, enabling them to pick the best of the best. One metric to track is the racial and cultural diversity of employees in the company. Singapore is a multiracial country, hence the workplace should be made up of a proper racial balance. More often than not, we see companies hiring people of the same race due to the affinity bias of employers. However, doing so makes them miss out on talents of other races. Having a set quota for each race could ensure that minorities are not overlooked during the employment process. Good results would be the improvement of racial diversity in the company, as a balanced workforce ensures equal opportunities were given to everyone. Bad results could possibly be if companies still only have one distinct majority race in the workplace. Another metric companies can track are the retention levels of employees of minority races. While it is a good step for companies to be open about recruiting diverse talent, it is not enough to just hire. Given the war for talent, companies need to put in the effort to understand the needs of their employees and make work environments conducive to these individuals in order to keep them. According to Workday, Singapore has the highest expected turnover rate in Asia, with 46% of participants likely to leave their jobs within a year. Good results with this metric is high retention rates across all departments in the company. This reflects that employees are satisfied with their current work environment and are not looking for greener pastures elsewhere. Bad results could include high turnover rates of minorities, risking higher cost of employee turnover for the employer. One metric to track PWD inclusion is the total number of employees with disabilities in the company. Often, most people with disabilities have the proper skills and qualifications needed for the job. However, more often than not, PWDs are not able to find good jobs. Employers often overlook them as potential candidates due to their disabilities. By consciously tracking the number of employees with disabilities, employers are able to ensure that they are not missing out on these talents due to their own unconscious biases. With this metric in place, an increase in the number of PWDs hired in the company would be a good sign of diversity. However, if the number does not seem to be increasing, employers would be aware of the situation due to the diligent tracking of the metric. Another metric to track is if the company meets the physical and mental accessibility needs of these employees. With this metric, it will show if the company truly cares about the welfare of its employees with disabilities. As the needs of everyone are different, Companies should find out how they can make the workspace more conducive for their employees with disabilities. This will make them feel more supported, which can result in better quality work. Simple accommodations could include priority parking for the physically disabled or flexible sick leave related to mental health. Good results will show that companies have made some adjustment in the work environment to accommodate to the needs of these employees, which could reflect in better job performance. A bad result of this metric could be no change recorded at all, showing that the company is not committed to meeting the needs of its employees with disabilities. One D&I initiative is fair employment practices. To ensure that the best candidates are hired, companies should be aware of and minimize the unconscious biases of interviewers, especially during interviewing processes. Ways to overcome these include blind recruitment and unconscious bias training for interviewers. Blind recruitment omits personally identifiable information such as name, gender, and age from a person's resume. This technique ensures a diverse flow of talent into a company's selection process. In addition to this, interviewers who receive training for unconscious bias would also be able to recognize and manage their own biases, which undeniably influence their hiring decisions. This practice has been a growing trend and is observed in large companies such as Google, HSBC, and BBC. They believe that blind hiring aids them to hire talents from diverse backgrounds, promoting a diverse work culture. Studies have shown that racially diverse teams outperform their non-diverse counterparts by 35%, boosting company revenue in the process. Another D&I initiative is to identify and change processes that support unconscious bias. Oftentimes, recruiting and hiring processes discourage applicants with disabilities or put them at a disadvantage, as they often limit their ability to demonstrate their strengths. By changing the recruiting and hiring processes to accommodate to these parties, companies will not lose out on hiring skilled and qualified individuals despite their disabilities. Microsoft is one company that adopted a similar change. Instead of the traditional interview process, Microsoft worked with a local autism support organization to bring in candidates for a different evaluation process which involved exercises that tested candidates' teamwork and technical skills. With this change in place, the Chief Accessibility Officer of Microsoft says that they feel more confident they have not overlooked a strong candidate due to common assessment practices that do not play to their strengths. All in all, our group feels that racial and gender diversity are most important for us. For racial diversity, we hope that there are equal opportunities given to minorities. Furthermore, with globalization, it is important that companies adapt. For gender diversity, we hope that more women will be included in the workforce and will be viewed as an equal in the workplace, as they are just as essential to the economy. Thank you for your time, and we hope you enjoyed the presentation today.